The Galactic Council chamber was massive. It floated in space surrounded by stars. Inside, representatives from 200 alien species sat in their designated seats. Today was supposed to be a simple meeting. It was not. Ambassador Kang Daewon stood at the speaking platform. He was human, which meant he was shorter than most beings in the room. His dark hair was neatly combed. His suit was perfectly pressed. His face wore a gentle smile. He looked like someone's kind uncle, not a diplomat representing Earth and her colonies. High Chancellor Vrex towered over the platform opposite him. The Thalian leader was 8 feet tall, covered in dark red scales with 4 arms and a mouth full of sharp teeth. His empire controlled 17 star systems. He was not used to being challenged by anyone, especially not by humans. "The matter is settled," Vrex announced, his voice booming through the chamber. "The 3 worlds known as New Seoul Busan Station and Jeju Colony are now property of the Thalian Empire. They were undefended. They were weak. We took them as is our right." Murmurs filled the chamber. Some aliens nodded in agreement. This was how things worked in the galaxy. Strong species took from weak ones. It had always been this way. Daewon's smile never wavered. "High Chancellor, we certainly appreciate your perspective on this matter. However, those worlds are home to approximately 12 million human citizens. We were hoping we could discuss the situation further." Vrex laughed. The sound was like rocks grinding together. "Discuss? There is nothing to discuss, human. Your species has been in space for barely 200 years. You are children playing at civilization. You build your little colonies and think you matter. You do not." Several aliens in the chamber laughed along with Vrex. Humans were a young species. They had no ancient lineage, no vast empire, no fearsome military reputation. They were farmers and traders mostly. They smiled too much. They were too soft. "I understand your concerns completely," Daewon said, bowing his head slightly. "And we deeply value your input on these matters. Perhaps we could schedule another meeting to examine this issue more thoroughly. I would hate for there to be any misunderstanding between our peoples." A small woman sat behind Daewon. Her name was Yuna, and she was his advisor. She had been writing in a leather notebook throughout the entire meeting. Now she looked up and smiled at Vrex. It was not a friendly smile, though her face showed nothing but politeness. Vrex slammed one of his 4 fists on his podium. "There is no misunderstanding. Those worlds are ours now. Your colonists can stay and work for us, or they can leave. We do not care which, but the worlds are Thalian territory. This is final." Of course, Daewon said, nodding sympathetically. "We would never want to cause any trouble. We simply want to ensure that all proper procedures are followed. I'm sure you understand. Bureaucracy, you know how it is." The council chairman, a floating mass of tentacles named Ulam, spoke up. "Ambassador Daewon, the Thalian Empire has filed all appropriate claims. The worlds were undefended and fell under salvage rights according to Galactic Law Section 47. Do you have any legal objection?" Daewon tilted his head thoughtfully. "Legal objections? Oh, I wouldn't say objections exactly. More like concerns we'd like to address. But I'm sure we can work something out that satisfies everyone. We humans are very reasonable people." Yuna wrote something else in her notebook. She was still smiling. Vrex leaned forward. "You waste the council's time with your pathetic begging. Accept that your species is weak. Accept that you have lost these worlds. Or perhaps you would like to try and take them back." He laughed again. "Please try. I would enjoy watching your tiny ships burn." The chamber grew quiet. This was a direct challenge. Several species shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Open warfare between council members was rare, but it happened. Usually it ended badly for the weaker species. Daewon was quiet for a moment. He looked down at his hands clasped in front of him. When he looked back up, he was still smiling. "We would never want conflict, High Chancellor. Violence should always be the last resort. We believe in peaceful solutions, in dialogue, in giving everyone a chance to do the right thing." "Then you have nothing," Vrex said with satisfaction. "You will go home and tell your people that they have lost 3 worlds. Tell them that the Thalian Empire is not afraid of humanity's peaceful solutions." "Oh, I'll definitely inform them," Daewon said pleasantly. "I'll tell them everything about this meeting. How patient you've been with us. How you've explained your position so clearly. I want to make sure we have everything properly documented." He turned to address the full council. "Before we conclude, I just want to thank everyone here for their time today. I know these sessions can be long and tiring. Your attention to this matter has been invaluable. Truly invaluable. We humans really do appreciate how this council operates." He bowed deeply, the way humans did when showing respect. "We will certainly take all of your input under advisement. Thank you again for your consideration." Yuna closed her notebook and stood. She bowed as well. Then both humans turned and walked calmly toward the exit. Most of the council members immediately began talking among themselves. The matter was settled. Humanity had backed down. It was over. But in the far corner of the chamber, an old Crevan observer named Krath did not join the conversations. His species had been in space for 3,000 years. They had seen many empires rise and fall, and they had fought humans once, 70 years ago, in a small border dispute. Krath's assistant noticed his concerned expression. "Elder, is something wrong?" The old Crevan watched the humans leave. "That was not submission," he said quietly. "That was a countdown." "A countdown? To what?" "I don't know. But I've seen this before. When we fought the humans over the Kepler colonies, they were just like this. Polite, reasonable, patient. They sent us 17 diplomatic messages, each one more respectful than the last." He paused, and then they came with warships. "But they seemed so weak." "That's what we thought too," Krath said. "We were wrong. They're not weak. They're recording everything. Every insult, every refusal, every chance they gave for peace. And when they finally decide they've been patient enough..." He trailed off. "What happened in the Kepler conflict?" Krath's expression was grim. "We surrendered after 4 days. But it felt like 4 years. They didn't just beat us. They broke us while apologizing for the inconvenience." He stood up slowly. "I need to send a message to High Chancellor Vrex. He should know what he's dealing with." "Will he listen?" The old Crevan looked at the exit where the humans had disappeared. "Probably not. No one ever does. They see the smiles and the bowing and think it means weakness. They don't realize it's a warning." In the hallway outside, Daewon and Yuna walked side by side. Neither spoke until they were certain they were alone. "How many warnings do you think they'll ignore?" Yuna asked. Daewon's smile finally faded. "Judging by their arrogance?" "All of them." "So we proceed with the protocol?" "Yes, 47 documented attempts at peaceful resolution. Each one more polite than the last. Each one properly recorded and filed with the council." He looked at her notebook. "You got everything?" "Every word. Every insult. Every refusal to negotiate in good faith." Yuna opened the notebook briefly. "This will hold up in any galactic court." "Good." Daewon's expression was neutral now, showing nothing. "Let's go home and inform the fleet admiral. Tell him to start composing very respectful messages." "Very respectful? The kind that make you worry. He'll understand?" "Oh yes, Jiho knows exactly how this works. He's been practicing his politeness for years." Daewon allowed himself a small, tired smile. The Thalians wanted strength. They're about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the galaxy is someone who really truly tried to be nice. They continued walking toward their ship. Behind them, the council chamber buzzed with conversation about humanity's weakness. No one noticed the Crevan observer making frantic calls to anyone who would listen, and no one would remember this day as the moment everything changed. Not yet. Admiral Jiho looked exactly like what he was, a grandfather who happened to command the largest human fleet in known space. His hair was white. His face had deep wrinkles from decades of smiling. He wore a simple uniform with only 3 medals, though he had earned dozens more. He believed in modesty. The bridge of the UES Harmony was quiet. Officers worked at their stations with calm efficiency. Everything was peaceful. Everything was organized. It was the kind of peace that made experienced soldiers nervous. Commander Hyunwoo stood beside the admiral's chair. He was younger, only 45, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. He held a tablet displaying the latest response from the Tholian Empire. "They refused again, sir," Hyunwoo said quietly. "That's message number 15. They called it pathetic human whining in their official response." Jiho nodded slowly. "I see. Well, we must respect their position. Please compose message number 16. Make it even more polite than the last one. Use phrases like humbly request and with greatest respect. Also mention how much we admire Thalian culture." "Sir, some of the crew are asking questions. They want to know why we don't just act." The admiral looked at his commander. His expression was gentle, but his eyes were cold. Because when we do act, I want every species in the galaxy to see that we tried. I want 47 documented attempts at peace. I want it so clear that we exhausted every option that no one can ever claim we didn't give them a chance. He paused. How many chances did they give us? None, sir, exactly. We'll give them 47. And then? Jiho smiled his grandfather's smile. Then we'll give them something else. 6 weeks later, the Thalian High Command was celebrating. They had denied 23 human requests for negotiation. Each message had been more desperate sounding than the last. Each one had been publicly mocked and rejected. High Chancellor Vrex held a feast in the throne room of his flagship. Hundreds of officers attended, drinking and laughing. The humans had sent another message just that morning. Message number 30. It had practically begged for mercy. They called me most gracious and wise Chancellor, Vrex announced to roaring laughter. They actually think flattery will work. These humans understand nothing of power. His military commander Scar raised his glass. Their fleet grows larger in our space, but they do nothing. They just sit there sending messages. We should attack them and end this comedy. No, no, Vrex said, waving a clawed hand. Let them send their messages. Let them beg. It's entertaining. Besides, what can they do? They're outnumbered 8-1. If they were going to fight, they would have done it by now. What Vrex didn't know was that each message served multiple purposes. Yes, they were diplomatic attempts. But they were also scanning the Thalian fleet, analyzing their formations, studying their response times, learning their patrol patterns. On the Harmony, Hyun-woo updated his own leather notebook. He had started keeping one after seeing Yuna's. His contained tactical data, ship positions, weapon signatures, weaknesses in Thalian fleet coordination. They've moved their dreadnought to the center of their formation, he reported. They're protecting it heavily. They think it's their strength. It's their weakness, Jiho said calmly. They've concentrated their command structure in one place. If that ship is disabled, their entire fleet loses coordination. He sipped his tea. How many messages have we sent now? 34, sir. 13 more to go. Time the next one to arrive during their evening cycle. I want them relaxed when they read it. Maybe even a little drunk. Across the fleet, other human ships were conducting similar operations. Every captain had their orders. Be polite, be patient. Learn everything. Every Thalian insult was recorded. Every threat was documented. Every refusal to negotiate was filed with the Galactic Council. Back at the council chambers, Elder Krath was having no luck with his warnings. He had tried to reach Vrex personally, but the Thalian leader refused his calls. He had tried to alert other council members, but they dismissed his concerns. You're being paranoid, one diplomat told him. The humans are clearly terrified. Look at their messages. They're begging. Krath pulled up message 38 on his datapad. He read it aloud. Most honored High Chancellor Vrex, we humbly implore your infinite wisdom to reconsider this delicate matter. We understand the strength and glory of the Thalian Empire, and would never wish to cause offense. We simply hope that your renowned mercy might allow for discussion. You see, the diplomat said. They're surrendering with flowery words. No, Krath insisted. They're building a legal case. Every message is time-stamped and filed with the council. They're proving they tried peaceful solutions, 47 times if I'm counting correctly. Do you know what 47 is in human military doctrine? What? It's how many warnings they give before they stop being nice. The diplomat laughed. That's a myth, is it? Because I lived through it. And I'm telling you, when they stop saying please and thank you, you need to run. But no one listened to an old Krivan. Everyone was too busy watching the Thalians humiliate humanity with each message rejection. Message 45 arrived on a Tuesday, using human time. It was perhaps the most polite thing ever written in Galactic Common. It praised Vrex's leadership. It called the Thalian Empire a beacon of civilization. It practically worshipped the ground Vrex walked on. They're finished, Vrex announced. They've completely broken. This is embarrassing to watch, Scar agreed. Should we just destroy their fleet now? Put them out of their misery? Not yet. I want to see how much further they'll debase themselves. These humans need to learn their place in the galaxy. Message 46 came the next day. It was shorter. Still polite, but simpler. It asked one final time for Vrex to return the colonies and allow peaceful resolution. Look, Vrex pointed at the message. They're running out of words. They've said everything they can say. There's nothing left, he was wrong. There was one message left. Message 47 arrived at dawn Thalian time. Admiral Jiho had composed it personally. He had spent 3 hours getting the tone exactly right. It read, High Chancellor Vrex, we have attempted to resolve this matter through peaceful diplomatic channels 46 times. We have shown you respect, patience, and every opportunity to return what was taken. We deeply regret that these efforts have been unsuccessful. With profound regret and the utmost respect, we must inform you that diplomatic solutions have been exhausted. We thank you for your time and consideration. May history judge us all fairly. Scar read it and laughed. That's it? That's their final message? They thank us and give up? Vrex studied the message more carefully. Something about it felt different. The tone had changed. It was still polite, yes, but it was also final. Send our fleet to surround them, Vrex ordered. If they're giving up, we'll accept their surrender personally. I want to see the look on that admiral's face when he admits defeat. The Thalian fleet moved into position. 800 ships against 100 human vessels. The numbers were overwhelmingly in Thalian favor. This would be over quickly. On the Harmony, Hyun-woo closed his notebook. Message 47 has been sent and rejected, sir. All diplomatic protocols have been exhausted. All attempts at peaceful resolution have been documented and filed with the Council. Excellent, Jiho said. He looked around his bridge. Every officer was ready. They had been ready for weeks. Let's show them what happens when patience runs out. But remember, we're still professionals. We follow the rules of engagement. We disable, we don't destroy. We make our point, but we don't commit genocide. We're not monsters. Even after everything they've done. Especially after everything they've done. We're better than them. That's the whole point. Jiho stood up from his chair. All ships, this is Admiral Jiho, you may engage. And please remember to be polite during combat. We are still representatives of humanity. The first shots fired were precision strikes. Human railguns, accurate to within centimeters, took out Thalian weapon systems without destroying the ships themselves. Human missiles targeted engines, not life support. It was surgical. It was clean. It was terrifying. A Thalian destroyer lost all weapons in 3 seconds. Its captain received a message immediately. This is Captain Wu Jin of the UES Thunder. Your weapons have been disabled. Please stand by for rescue operations. We apologize for any inconvenience. Medical teams are standing by if needed. Another Thalian ship tried to ram a human frigate. The frigate dodged with impossible precision, then disabled the Thalian ship's engines. Another polite message. Please maintain life support and wait for assistance. We mean you no harm. We simply need you to stop shooting at us. Thank you for your cooperation. Scar watched in horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled. They weren't even fighting. They were being managed, like children being put in timeout. Return fire, he screamed. Destroy them. But the Thalian weapons couldn't hit the human ships. They moved too fast, predicted attacks too accurately, and when Thalian ships did manage to land hits, human shields absorbed the damage easily. After 2 hours, the Thalian dreadnought had lost all weapons, shields, and mobility. It floated helplessly in space. So did 2/3 of the Thalian fleet. Not one ship had been destroyed, but all of them were crippled. Admiral Jiho opened a channel to Vrex personally. Captain Wu Jin had been a surgeon before joining the military. His hands were steady, his mind was precise. He treated warfare the same way he had treated operations, with careful planning, exact execution, and minimal damage to anything he wasn't specifically targeting. His ship, the destroyer UES Thunder, hung in space above the disabled Thalian dreadnought. Around him, the rest of the Thalian fleet drifted helplessly. Engines dark, weapons offline, communications working, life support fully functional. Status report, Wu Jin said calmly. His weapons officer checked her console. All Thalian military assets neutralized. 0 enemy casualties. 3 ships have minor life support damage. We're dispatching repair teams now. Excellent. Send the standard message to all disabled vessels. Make sure they understand we're here to help, not harm. On the bridge of the Thalian flagship, Vrex stared at the message that appeared on his screen. It was polite. Almost cheerfully so. It explained that human rescue teams would be arriving shortly to assist with any injured personnel. It asked if they needed any medical supplies. It apologized for the inconvenience. Apologized, Vrex repeated, his voice hollow. They destroyed our fleet and they're apologizing. Scar sat at a broken console, his forearms hanging limply. This isn't how warfare works. You fight to kill. You fight to win. You don't fight with precision, came a new voice over the communication system. Both Thalians looked up. A woman appeared on their main screen. She was human, small, with short black hair and a friendly smile. She wore a white coat over a military uniform. "My name is Dr. Yunji," she said pleasantly. "I'm a xenobiologist with the human fleet. I hope everyone on your ship is safe. We detected some elevated stress signals in your crew quarters. Would you like us to send counselors? We have specialists trained in Tholian psychology." "Psychology?" Vrex growled. "You attack us and offer therapy?" "We didn't attack you," Yunji corrected gently. "You attacked us. We defended ourselves using appropriate force. There's a difference. We've been very careful to minimize trauma, but we understand this situation must be stressful for your crew. We're happy to help." Scar found his voice. "Why didn't you just kill us? You had the capability. We saw your weapons. You could have destroyed every ship here." Yunji's smile faded slightly. "Yes, we could have. But that wouldn't have been proportional. You took our colonies without killing anyone. We took your military capability without killing anyone. See, proportional. We're not monsters, Commander Scar. How do you know my name?" "We know everyone's name. We've been scanning your ships for 6 weeks. We know your crew sizes, your supply levels, your shift rotations. We know that Tholians need to eat every 6 hours, that your species gets anxious in enclosed spaces, and that your culture values honor in combat." She pulled up a data pad. "Would you like to know how many studies we have on Tholian military psychology?" 47. There's that number again. Vrex felt something he had never experienced before. Not fear of death. That he could understand. This was fear of something worse, of being completely, utterly known. These humans had studied his species like laboratory specimens. "What do you want?" he asked. "Right now? We want to make sure you're all safe. After that, we want our colonies back. And an apology would be nice. But mostly, we want you to understand something important." Yunji's expression became serious. "We tried to be peaceful. We really did. 47 times. We gave you every chance, every opportunity to walk away from this without conflict. You refused. So now you know what happens when humans stop being polite." She paused, letting that sink in. "But here's what you need to understand. Even now, even after you rejected peace 47 times, even after you mocked and insulted us, we're still showing restraint. We could have made this so much worse. We chose not to, because that's who we are." Before Vrex could respond, another message came through. This one was from Admiral Ji-Ho. The old human appeared on screen, looking tired but not angry. He reminded Vrex of his own grandfather. Except his grandfather had never commanded a fleet that could disable 800 warships without breaking a sweat. "High Chancellor Vrex," Ji-Ho said formally. "I hope you're well. I wanted to personally explain our actions today, so there's no confusion about what happened here. You defeated us," Vrex said bitterly. "What else is there to explain?" "The how and the why," Ji-Ho said. "You see, we operate under something called the Terran Rules of Engagement. They're based on very old principles from Earth. One of the most important rules is proportional response. You took our colonies without violence, so we responded by taking your military capability without violence. You disrespected us politically, so we responded with superior tactics. You thought numbers would win, so we proved that skill matters more." He leaned forward slightly. "But here's the key point, and I need you to really understand this. We held back. Everything you saw today, that was us being careful. We have weapons we didn't use, tactics we didn't need, ships we didn't deploy. We could have turned this into a massacre. We chose not to. Why?" Vrex demanded. "Why show mercy to those who showed you none?" "Because mercy isn't weakness," Ji-Ho said simply. "It's strength. It's the ability to hurt someone and choosing not to. It's the power to destroy and deciding to preserve. You thought we were weak because we were polite. You learned otherwise. But even in proving our strength, we maintained our principles. That's what makes us different from you." Scar spoke up. "What happens now? Do you take us prisoner? Execute our leadership? Occupy our worlds?" "None of that," Ji-Ho said, sounding almost offended. "We're not conquerors. We just want our colonies back. And we want assurances that this won't happen again. And yes, we want you to pay for the resources we spent on this operation. But we're not interested in humiliating you or destroying your empire. We just needed you to understand that you made a mistake. Dr. Yunji appeared again, this time beside Admiral Jiho on the screen. We've actually prepared a comprehensive report for your government. It details exactly how we defeated you, so you can learn from this experience. We've included tactical analysis, psychological warfare documentation, and suggestions for improving your fleet coordination. Consider it a gift. Rex couldn't speak. They had beaten his fleet and now they were offering to teach him how they did it? What kind of species did that? The report also includes, Yunji continued, a detailed history of human conflict resolution. I think you'll find it educational. We've been fighting wars for 10,000 years. We've gotten very good at it, but we've also gotten very good at making peace. You'll notice that most species who fight us once never fight us again. Would you like to know why? Why? Rex asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Because we're absolutely clear about consequences. We give warnings, many warnings. We document everything. We try every peaceful option. And then when we do fight, we fight smart. We don't fight angry. Angry fighting is sloppy. We fight calculated. And that's much scarier. She smiled again. But we also show mercy. We help rebuild. We offer friendship after conflict. Because we don't want enemies. We want everyone to succeed. A new voice came over the channel. It was Captain Wu Jin. Hi, Chancellor, we're ready to begin towing your ships to the nearest repair station. It should take about 3 days. We'll provide all necessary supplies during the journey. We'll also be returning your colonies to human control. Your garrison forces there will be treated well and transported home safely. Do you have any questions? Rex had 1,000 questions, but he could only ask one. How did you get so good at this? Admiral Jiho's expression became sad. Practice. Thousands of years of practice. Humans have fought each other since we lived in caves. We fought over everything. Land, resources, beliefs, pride. We've destroyed each other countless times. Eventually, we learned. We created rules. We developed honor codes. We established conventions about warfare. Not because we were soft, but because we realized that unlimited violence serves no one. He gestured to the space around them. What you experience today is the result of all that learning. We know exactly how to break an enemy without killing them. We know how to make a point without making a massacre. We know how to fight a war and still sleep at night. And the politeness? Scar asked. The 47 messages? Documentation, Yunwu answered, appearing beside the Admiral. We needed a legal record. We needed to prove to the Galactic Council that we exhausted every peaceful option. But also, he paused, it's about respect. Even when we fight, we try to respect our opponents. We try to remember that you're people too, with families and homes and lives that matter. The politeness isn't fake. It's real. We really did hope you would negotiate. But you knew we wouldn't? Vrex said. We hoped, Jiho corrected. Hope and expectation are different. We hoped for peace. We expected war. We prepared for both. That's what being professional means. Over the next 2 hours, human teams boarded every disabled Thalian ship. They brought medical supplies, food, repair equipment. They were polite to every Thalian they met. They asked permission before entering spaces. They helped injured crew members. They were genuinely kind. It was disturbing. One Thalian officer asked a human engineer, "Why are you helping us? We would have killed you if we had won." The Galactic Council emergency session was packed. Every species wanted to see what would happen to the Thalian Empire. Some expected harsh punishment. Others hoped for leniency. Everyone was talking. Then the humans walked in and the room went silent. Ambassador Daewon looked exactly as he had before. Neat suit, gentle smile, polite bow. Behind him walked Yuna, now wearing the uniform of Human Intelligence Division. She carried 3 large cases. Thank you all for gathering on such short notice, Daewon said warmly. We really appreciate your time. I know everyone is busy. He placed a thick document on the central podium. Then another. Then another. 47 documents in total. These are copies of every diplomatic message we sent to the Thalian Empire over the past 6 months. Each one is time-stamped and verified by council records. Each one requested peaceful negotiation. Each one was rejected, often with insults. He smiled. We wanted to make sure everyone understands. We tried. A Borellian diplomat raised a tentacle. Ambassador, no one doubts that you attempted diplomacy. But the use of military force was completely legal under galactic law. A new voice interrupted. A human woman entered the chamber. She was older with gray hair and sharp eyes. My name is Hana. I'm a specialist in interspecies law. Perhaps you'd like me to cite the specific sections that justify our response. She didn't wait for an answer. Galactic Law Section 203. A member species may use reasonable force to defend its territory. Section 147. Reasonable force is defined as proportional to the threat. The Thalians took 3 colonies without loss of life. We disabled their fleet without loss of life. Perfectly proportional. But you humiliated them, someone protested. No, Hana said firmly. We defeated them. Humiliation would have involved public shaming, unnecessary cruelty, or excessive violence. We did none of those things. In fact, we helped repair their ships afterward. That's not humiliation. That's professionalism. Chairman Ulam floated forward. The Council recognizes that humanity acted within legal parameters. The question is, what happens now? Now, said a Thalian voice, and we pay. High Chancellor Vrex entered the chamber. He looked different. Smaller somehow. Humbler. He walked to the podium without his usual swagger. The Thalian Empire formally apologizes to humanity, he said, and several species gasped. Thalians never apologized. We violated their territorial rights. We insulted them repeatedly. We rejected peaceful solutions, and we have paid the price for our arrogance. He looked directly at Daewon. We are returning all 3 colonies immediately. We are paying full reparations for the military operation, and we are accepting human advisors to help reform our fleet command structure. That's very generous of you, Daewon said, bowing slightly. We're glad this could be resolved peacefully. Peacefully? A voice shouted from the gallery. You disabled 800 ships. And killed no one, Daewon replied calmly. Peace doesn't mean no conflict. It means resolving conflict with minimal harm. We achieved that. Hana stepped forward again. Actually, the Council might be interested in a new program we're launching. It's called Understanding Human Diplomatic Indicators. Think of it as educational seminars. Seminars? Frex looked confused. Yes, fun, informative sessions where we teach other species how to read human communication. You see, we've noticed that many species misunderstand our diplomatic signals. They think politeness means weakness. They think patience means fear. They think respect means submission. She smiled brightly. We want to correct these misconceptions. Over the next week, the first seminar was held. It was attended by 200 diplomats from various species. Vrex sat in the front row, taking notes frantically. Hana stood at the podium with a holographic display behind her. Welcome to Human Diplomatic Indicators 101. Today's lesson, how to know when humans are actually angry. She clicked a button, and a chart appeared. Humans have what we call levels of diplomatic language. Let's review them. Level 1, normal communication. We use contractions. We're casual. We say things like, hey, could we talk about this? This is relaxed human behavior. Everything is fine. Level 2, professional concern. We stop using contractions. We say we would like to discuss this matter. We're a bit more formal. This means we're paying attention. You should probably listen. Level 3, serious concern. We start using your full name and title. We say things like High Chancellor Vrex of the Thalian Empire. When we use your full title, we're building a record. We're documenting. This is a warning. Level 4, final warning. We use phrases like with all due respect or we regret to inform you. Here's a secret. When we say with all due respect, we believe you deserve no respect. When we say we regret to inform you, we don't regret it at all. We're just being polite about the fact that you've made a mistake. Level 5, active conflict. We become very calm, very precise. We say exactly what we mean. We thank you for your time. We wish you well. And then we act. If we say thank you for your cooperation, it usually means we're no longer asking for cooperation. We're taking it. A young Krillian diplomat raised a claw. So increased politeness means increased danger. Exactly, Hana said, pleased. The more formally respectful we become, the more worried you should be. It's counterintuitive, I know. Most species become less polite when angry. Humans become more polite. It's our way of maintaining control and documenting the situation for legal purposes. Vrex raised a hand. What about phrases like, we appreciate your perspective, or we'll take that under advisement? Oh, those are great examples. Hana pulled up another slide. Those are what we call diplomatic deflections. They sound agreeable, but they mean we heard you, we think you're wrong, but we're not going to argue right now. They're placeholders. We're being polite while we decide how to respond. She clicked to another slide showing a conversation tree. Let's look at a real example, the Thalian situation. How many warnings did we give? 47, Freck said quietly. Right. Message 1 was casual concern. Message 10 was professional documentation. Message 20 was serious warning. Message 30 was final warning. Message 47 was notification of action. Each step was clearly marked. Each step was an opportunity to change course. She looked at Vrex. You ignored all of them. Why? I thought they were signs of weakness, and now I know they were signs of patience. And patience has limits, Hannah nodded. Exactly. Humans can be very patient. We'll give you many chances, but there's always a final chance. And when that runs out, she didn't need to finish. Another seminar session focused on human body language. Una taught this one. Humans smile a lot, she explained, but not all smiles are friendly. Let me show you different types of human smiles. Images appeared on the screen. This is a genuine happy smile. You can tell because it reaches the eyes. The whole face is involved. This means the human is actually pleased. This is a professional smile, just the mouth. The eyes are neutral. This is a business smile. It means the human is being polite, but they're in work mode, not necessarily happy or unhappy. This is a warning smile. The smile is there, but the eyes are cold. This is dangerous. This means the human is angry but maintaining control. When you see this smile, you should be worried. And this, she brought up another image, is what we call the diplomatic smile. It's pleasant, warm, non-threatening. It's also completely fake. Humans use this when they're planning something, but don't want you to know yet. Admiral Jiho had this exact smile during all 47 messages. A Quellan diplomat asked, how do we tell the difference? Practice. And paying attention. Humans give many subtle signals. We just don't announce them loudly. Una pulled up more examples. For instance, when a human says interesting in a flat tone, it means they think you're an idiot but are too polite to say so. When we say I'll think about it, we've already decided the answer is no. When we say we should have coffee sometime, we don't actually want to have coffee with you. Then why say it? Because being direct is considered rude in many human cultures. We soften our meaning with polite phrases. You just have to learn to translate. The seminars continued for weeks. Topics included Why Humans Document Everything, a Legal Warfare Guide. The difference between human hospitality and human hostility. Understanding human military doctrine, it's about precision, not passion. Gift baskets, genuine kindness, or passive-aggressive warning. That last seminar was particularly well attended after Elder Krath revealed that humans had sent him a fruit basket after he tried to warn the council. The card had said, "Thank you for your concern." Everyone spent an hour debating what that really meant. By the third month, most galactic diplomats had become paranoid about human communication. They analyzed every word. They looked for hidden meanings. They counted how many times humans said, please. One Zellian ambassador had a breakdown after a human said, we'll be in touch, and then didn't contact him for 3 days. He was convinced humanity was planning to invade his homeworld. It turned out the human had just been busy with other meetings, but the paranoia served a purpose. Species became much more careful around humans. They listened to human concerns. They didn't dismiss human requests. They definitely didn't insult humanity publicly. 5 years had passed since the Thalian incident. The galaxy had changed. Not dramatically, not violently, but fundamentally. And everyone knew why. Ambassador Day One still looked like someone's kind uncle. His hair had more gray now. His smile was still gentle. But when he walked into a room, conversations stopped. Not from fear exactly, from respect, from awareness, from the knowledge that this pleasant man represented a species that had weaponized courtesy. He sat in his office at the Galactic Council building, reviewing reports. Una entered carrying her ever-present leather notebook. She was older too, and now wore the rank insignia of Director of Human Intelligence. Her notebooks had multiplied. She kept them in a locked cabinet in her office. Other species had tried to steal them. None had succeeded. The Vraxian situation is escalating, she said, sitting across from him. They've blockaded 3 trade routes and are demanding territorial concessions from the Quellan Confederation. Have they threatened violence? Not directly, but they're massing their fleet near Quellan space. The Quellans are terrified. Yuna paused. The Council has requested human mediation. Of course they have, Daewon said with a tired smile. We've become the galaxy's peacekeepers. When did that happen? About 4 years and 11 months ago, Yuna replied, checking her notes. Right after we published the full tactical analysis of the Thalian engagement. Once everyone understood exactly how we won, they decided they'd rather have us on their side than against them. Smart of them. Daewon stood and looked out his window at the stars. Who do they want us to send? They specifically requested someone young, someone they think might be easier to manipulate. Yuna's smile was sharp. They suggested Tae Yang. Oh dear, Daewon said, and he actually laughed. They really don't understand us yet, do they? Tae Yang was 28 years old. He had a baby face and a cheerful demeanor. He looked like an intern, not a diplomat. That was the point. He had graduated top of his class from the Human Diplomatic Academy. His thesis had been titled, The Psychology of Giving Chances, Why 47 is the Perfect Number. He had studied every engagement, every negotiation, every conflict in human history, and he had learned from all of them. When Tae Yang arrived at the Vraxian fleet's flagship, their high commander looked him up and down with obvious contempt. They sent a child? I'm 28, actually, Tae Yang said pleasantly. But I understand the confusion. Humans age differently than Vraxians. May I come aboard? I'd be absolutely delighted to discuss this situation with you. The Vraxian commander, whose name was Zorn, waved him in dismissively. Fine. Waste my time with human politeness. It won't change anything. The Quellans will surrender, or we will take what we want by force. I see, Tae Yang said, pulling out a leather notebook. It was brand new, no entries yet. Do you mind if I take notes? I like to keep good records. Zorn's confidence faltered slightly. Everyone in the galaxy knew about the notebooks now. They were famous. Some species had started using them too, thinking it would make them seem more professional. It never worked the same way. When humans took notes, it meant something. Before we discuss the blockade, Tae Yang said, settling into a chair, I wanted to tell you how much humanity admires Vraxian culture. Your engineering is spectacular. Your ships are beautiful. We've always hoped for good relations with your people. Flattery won't work. Oh, I'm not flattering you, Tae Yang said, looking genuinely confused. I mean it. I wrote a paper on Vraxian propulsion systems in university. Brilliant design. Really innovative. He made a note in his book. But I am curious about your tactical situation here. This blockade must be expensive to maintain. How long were you planning to keep it up? As long as necessary. Of course, another note. And you filed all appropriate declarations with the Council? That's not your concern. Actually, it is. You see, part of my job is to make sure all parties are following proper procedures. It's terribly boring, I know. Bureaucracy always is. Tae Yang flipped a page. I notice that you haven't formally declared this a military action. You've called it a commercial traffic management operation. Is that accurate? Zorn hesitated. Yes, that's accurate. Wonderful. That makes things simpler. Commercial disputes have different legal frameworks than military ones. Much less complicated. He smiled brightly. So you're not actually threatening war then? Just trying to pressure the Quellans economically? We're using whatever means necessary to achieve your goals without violence, Tae Yang finished writing quickly. That's excellent. Very responsible. Humanity appreciates restraint. He looked up. Would you be open to negotiation with the Quellans? Perhaps we could mediate? Why would we negotiate? We have the stronger position. Do you? Tae Yang asked, tilting his head. I mean, you have more ships in this sector, certainly. But the Quellans have allies. And this blockade is hurting neutral trade, too. Several species have filed complaints. If this escalates to the Council, you might face sanctions. That could be very expensive. The Council won't do anything. They never do. They might ask us to resolve it, Tae Yang said softly. And we're very good at resolving things. There was a long silence. Zorn stared at this young human with his friendly smile and his notebook. He thought about the stories he'd heard. About 47 messages. About disabled fleets. About humans helping the enemies they'd just defeated. What are you offering? Zorn asked. A conversation between you and the Quellans. Mediated by humanity. No preconditions. No threats, just talking, seeing if we can find a solution that works for everyone. Tae-yang leaned forward. I really think we can work this out. I truly do. 2 days later, Tae-yang sent his first official report to both parties. It was polite, thorough, and outlined possible solutions. He thanked everyone for their time. He expressed hope for peaceful resolution. Back at the council, Rex watched this unfold with horrified fascination. He was now the council's unofficial advisor on human behavior. Other species came to him constantly, asking him to interpret human communication. What does this mean? A Quellan representative asked, showing him Tae-yang's message. The human says he's pleased with initial discussions. Is that good? It means they're gathering information, Rex explained. He's building a case, documenting everything. That's what they do. They document. Should we be worried? That depends. Are you being reasonable? We're trying to be. Then you're fine. Humans reward reasonableness. It's unreasonableness they punish. Rex pulled up his own notes from his seminar sessions. See this phrase here? I'm confident we can find a mutually beneficial solution. That's level 2 language. Professional but optimistic. If it escalates to we regret that negotiations have stalled, that's level 4. That's when you should worry. The Quellan looked confused. How do you remember all this? Practice. 5 years of practice. And therapy. Lots of therapy. As negotiations continued, Tae-yang remained cheerful. He met with both sides. He took extensive notes. He suggested compromises. He praised both parties for their patience. And slowly a solution emerged. The Vraxians would withdraw their blockade. The Quellans would grant limited trade access to disputed territories. Both sides would establish a joint commission to resolve future disputes. It was boring. It was bureaucratic. It was peaceful. When the agreement was signed, Tae-yang sent a message to the council. We're absolutely delighted that this situation could be resolved through dialogue. We thank both the Vraxian Collective and the Quellan Confederation for their cooperation and maturity. We look forward to continued peaceful relations. Elder Krath, now retired but still consulted regularly, read the message and chuckled. Look at that. He only needed 7 messages. They're getting more efficient. His assistant looked confused.
Shouldn't they be happy it was resolved quickly?
Oh, they are. But 7 is much better than 47. It means the galaxy is learning. People are listening to human concerns earlier now. They're not waiting until message 47 to take them seriously. Is that good? Very good. It means humanity has succeeded in teaching the galaxy how they operate. Everyone understands the system now, and that makes everything more efficient. Krath paused. It's actually quite clever. They've standardized conflict resolution, made it predictable. That reduces actual violence. But doesn't that make humans less scary? No, Krath said seriously. It makes them scarier. Because now everyone knows exactly what humans are capable of. And everyone knows that humans always give warnings before acting. So if you ignore the warning, he shook his head. You have no excuse. No one can claim they didn't know. Humanity made sure everyone knows. At the Galactic Council's annual assembly, Daiwan gave an address. It was his last one before retirement. He stood at the podium looking at all the assembled species. I've served as Earth's ambassador for 23 years, he began. I've seen this council grow and change. I've seen conflicts and resolutions. I've seen the best and worst of interspecies relations. And I'm pleased to say that things are improving. He smiled his diplomatic smile. When I first came here, many species didn't take humanity seriously. We were young, inexperienced, too emotional, too soft. Some of you learned otherwise. He glanced at Vrex, who looked down at his hands.